Hey, Matt.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Muy bien.
Oh my God.
It's like we took some level of Spanish.
Speaking. It's really sad to consider that I took 5 years of Spanish
Yeah, I think I have 4.
and I can't form a sentence reliably.
So this will be a good place to start. This is just an episode in which I don't know if it's going to come out right away, but it's one that I think people want, kind of. Where as much as they love... No, because here's the thing. As much as they love us talking about our video game news and going on about that, I feel like they also love when we tangent. And I feel like just not even bothering to have a structure and running with it might work out decently for us.
Okay.
So that being said, is it not only disappointing to you or me as well that I don't retain anything of a second language yet? As we discussed the other day, we go into another country and they're like, yeah, I know 6.
Yeah, that was I really wish that was like an exaggeration too. But
Right, it's not.
I went to Mexico a year ago, 2 years ago? Year ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So everyone down there that we ran into spoke at least 2 languages, obviously. I would say probably a good amount of them 3. And then we went on a excursion out doing some things, out and about doing some events. And our tour guide spoke, how did he put it? I think he said he spoke 6 languages fluently, but really he can speak 8 languages.
Yeah, which is like, nope.
Yeah, there was, and it was insane because like he was telling us what we were doing or whatever on the bus.
Right.
And when we first got on, he basically was like, all right, who here speaks English? Who here speaks Spanish? Who here speaks French? Is there anyone else that speaks a different language?
Is there anybody else I need to cover?
Yep. And then he would just straight up like English, Spanish, French, like just boom them, like knock them right out. Yeah, it was nuts. Then we talked to him a little bit, while we were, and he like spoke. What else does he speak? Arabic was one of them.
Okay.
I can't remember what any of the other ones were, but I think for the most part it was like other versions of Latin. But yeah, that is but that's something. That is something. I'm definitely like when I feel the need to bring
For speed?
offspring
Oh, all right.
into this world. I think that's going to
It's
be
a painful thought.
one of my must do things is to make sure that they are like learning a language at a young age, like a second language at a young age.
I think that's the key, is to have it, if you're going to do it, try to start it young.
Oh yeah,
Because by the time you get old enough, it's just like, I don't give a shit.
yeah. Especially, I mean,
And especially depending on what languages.
yeah, and when our like how it's introduced in like our education system is like late middle school.
Yeah.
And that's like way too. That's like peak. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Time. So.
Yeah, it's a solid. I just no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
These kids these days.
Kids these days. Not learning them languages.
Pending we end up like randomly not having something to talk about. I have.
You have a list of things.
I'm just on Reddit/all right now, so I'm just looking.
That's frightening.
I'm just looking at popular things to potentially pull things from.
To comment on.
Yeah, just to do our normal thing of having an opinion about everything.
That's.
But I mean, we went to the state fair.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
Hot.
It was, and I made the mistake of being in jeans.
Yeah, I don't know how you. I feel like at a certain point though, like there's just nothing you can do about it.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, right? You joked about my pants being tight.
Yeah.
That was specifically then. Like, I've had them on since then, and it's just like, no, they're normal. But, you put them in the heat, and I'm,
you
feeling
get that
sticky and
clamminess.
stuff, and I'm like, feel like I swell up like a balloon in heat.
Yeah, that was the comment because I said my hands were swollen. Like,
Yeah. So I was doing this and like my fingers were catching on each other, just sliding my fingers back and forth rather than just But I mean, it was a good time. We saw Dropkick Murphys.
Yep, they were good.
Yeah, they were good.
I appreciated their humor.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
What the hell did they say? What was it?
We
You're
love
like
you-
a second home, but
Yeah,
we'll
you're a
never
second-
admit it in Boston or something like that.
We'll never talk about you guys in Boston, but we love you. And then there was, we saw a drone show, which I don't think was that good.
No, it was. I mean, I while I was watching it, I was genuinely curious how they were, like, not so much how they were doing it, but the specifics behind like how it worked.
It's a program that allows them all to talk to each other.
Yeah,
for the most
yeah.
part.
That's the thing. Like that's what I'm assuming, but I want to know like
I think you can
specifics. Like, you know what I mean?
get it. I think everybody pretty much runs the same program or
Yeah.
close to it.
That's what I was curious about. Like, if it was just like a universal program that someone made and like everyone uses it because that's the best.
It might be open. I'm not positive. Then we got Fair Food. We got fat on Fair Food.
That was
Nate got fatter on Fair Food.
So that was the part about it that was disappointing because it was so hot
Yeah.
that like I didn't want to like gorge myself on food, but I love Fair Food.
Well, that and walking around there, it's like, oh, that's right. It's just a giant barbecue.
Yeah.
How do I not gorge myself on Fair Food?
Yeah. So like if it was cooler, like if we had gone like today when it was like, 60s,
Oh, I debated leaving work early and being
I
like,
would've-
you want to just try to peace out and go down to the fair?
I would be like shoveling just food in my face.
Oh, yeah. I'd be walking around with 6 beers in my hand and
yeah.
3 shish kebabs worth of gator.
Yeah.
Because why not? That just sounds interesting.
I would have been like eating like fried Oreos, just popping them in.
I've never had one, and I'm okay with a regular Oreo.
Yeah, it's because you haven't had a fried Oreo.
I mean, maybe.
I'm gonna make them for you.
That's a scary thing.
I've done it before. They're really good.
Yeah.
They came out good.
You deep fry them, or did you just pan
Yeah,
fry them? Or?
deep fry 'em.
Oh, you deep fry them?
Yeah, you just freeze them. That's the trick. You just freeze them.
I mean, I can get down with some frozen Oreos.
Yeah, you freeze them and
Chocolate dipped? Frozen? I'm telling you, there's a thing there.
You know, it'd be interesting.
What?
Chocolate dip them, and then deep fry them.
Ooh, double the chocolate, double the pleasure.
Yes, deep frozen Oreo, obviously. Dip it in
Can't
the
say
chocolate.
that one out loud.
Yeah, dip it in the chocolate, refreeze it, and then batter it and deep fry it,
Yeah.
and then go to the hospital.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then immediately have cardiac arrest. Both of
So,
those things sound
weren't
great.
weren't you talking about losing weight and working out?
Yeah, I was talking about fixing this fat bod.
The
It'll happen.
dad bod. That's not
Combat dad.
yeah, combat dad. That was good.
It's my favorite name for the body. Combat dad.
Combat dad.
It's been a wild ride
Yes.
of life and things. What generation are we?
Weird. I think
We-
we're technically millennials.
Right. No, but like, are we? Does millennial have an X or Y associated with it or no?
No, because I think
So Z is behind us,
yeah,
right?
yes, I think so. I'm gonna Google it because I think we're technically millennials, and then Y was before us.
I mean, if Z's behind us, then yes. Because generation. Well, what about Generation X? Generation Strange. I Limp Bizkit immediately.
Gen
in
X
my-
is like early. No,
should have been 90s, right? Or are they the 80s?
no. I think Gen X is Gen X. I think is early
Oh, boy.
80s, maybe.
I just remember the Limp Bizkit lyric where I'm
Do
pretty
we want to
sure-
go through literally all the
No.
generations?
Just give me
Okay.
just give me the ending. Because if we start talking about the baby boomers, I'm going to get real fucking angry.
Because it starts in the Depression era,
Yeah, where everything starts getting ruined. No, I don't want to talk about that.
and then you cut. No, okay.
Like I said, I'm gonna get
All
angry.
right.
Don't do it.
There's two different boomers. There's boomers 1, boomers 2,
I'm
Or
talking
also-
about boomers too.
or also
I
baby
think.
boomers and Generation Jones,
Wait,
which is boomers 2.
I think I mean baby then.
I think you're boomers 2.
World War II.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're boomers 2.
That's the one where I'm getting angry at.
Yeah.
That's everybody causing our problems now, even though they'll never admit it because they're too stubborn.
Yes.
Suck it. Sorry, moving on. I'm not getting angry at you right now. I'm trying not to do it.
Gen X,
Is
born 1966 to 1976.
okay. That's further back than I thought. So then Y is after that?
Gen Y is... See, this is the thing. Gen Y... There's like... This is the problem, is because...
Can I identify as a baby boomer? No, sorry, that's a different question.
Depending on who you talk to, like, it either... the generations are, like, huge or they're really
Right,
small.
they're
So,
yeah.
Gen Y, Echo Boomers, or Millennials, or
All
Millenniums,
three?
I guess, Millennials, is 1977 to 1994.
Okay, so that's technically where we fall.
Yes, but I don't...
Which is to say that X...
Cultural generation.
No, before Y.
I'm going to go to Wikipedia and see what Wikipedia says. Because that shit sounds whack.
All right. Well, here's the point I wanted to bring up, because I saw a thing about Generation Z. I didn't know if that was us or if that was after us.
Pew Research is pretty reliable, right?
Who?
Pew.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay.
For what we need, they're all right.
All right, so according to them, Pew.
Pew. Pew pew.
Pew, pew, pew. Gen X is 65 to 80.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Millennial generation is 81 to 96.
Okay.
And then post-millennial is 97 and on.
But no letters. So
No letters.
I'm going to say that this person probably means post-millennial.
Okay.
This is in an r/futurology
Oh, boy.
from the user Transplanet Injection. If you could just give me a control over there, because I want to make sure my volume's good. Because when I'm sitting down, I tend to not be able to control when I spike, and I spiked earlier, and I feel really bad for somebody's ears. Futurology. Gen Z teenagers have begun quitting social media in droves, refusing to be programmed by it, or refusing to play the game of who can appear the happiest.
I'm not. I can.
My
see
immediate
that.
thought: good, fuck them.
Yeah,
Not Gen Z. Like fuck social media.
Yeah.
Like I'm only there because I'm watching. I'm not here to post. I'm here to
That's
watch.
me as well. Like, I don't think my Facebook or Instagram has been updated in years.
My Facebook got updated the other day because I shared a post, but like I don't. Other than that post, which needed, as far as I'm concerned, to be shared, it's
now I'm curious what it is. I'm gonna have to go look at it.
it's a family thing dealing with what I was at 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, it's like there's no need for me to say anything. Like for me, I'm shouting into the ether. Some of these people that have 40,000 followers and whatever. Oh, sorry, you're a hot female or a video gamer or a sports person, are one thing. But I'm just shouting into the ether for the most part. But that's me. Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
I'm getting Snapchat chatted, and I'm curious what the vocals or what the sound is saying.
Oh, you're getting snap videoed?
Yeah.
That makes sense. What were we talking about that I actually wanted to do this?
I don't remember.
So now I feel like we've not even done anything.
We were talking about generations, social media.
I could just go to r/stupid people and probably pull out 7,000 things.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, social media is really frustrating.
Social media is a waste of time.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's.
I don't know whose hair is on that thing.
No, it's fine. It's probably Max. Eating your
Or
cat's hair.
Sam.
I don't know. It got perverted at some point, you know? Like, I feel
Well,
like...
yeah, and we don't mean perverted, and, well, it did do that too, but it just perversely invaded. Or not even invaded, it took over? Is that... It got bad.
Yeah.
And now, with all the fake news, this is the part where we can actually go political if we really wanted to.
Oh,
It's a dangerous idea.
It is dangerous.
Well, Senator McCain's dead. Is that, is that political?
Well, going back to the posting thing, like, my issue and why I don't really do social media so much is kind of a political thing. Like, I don't participate really in like Facebook anymore because my opinions aren't the meta on my my Facebook group.
Yeah, no.
So,
there's very much not understanding, because obviously nobody really knows everybody, but I do see both sides in my Facebook feed. But my God, I don't technically I don't lean one way or the other. I fall pretty dead middle on most things. And there are just times where I just look at both sides. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Literally morons. And this is unbelievable to me. People I would have thought had a decent amount of intelligence are just being, for all lack of a better term, stupid. Unintelligent. And I thought they had it. And I'm going to get into an anti-MLM thing here in a second. But that's not even politics. That's just people shilling products for no reason.
My issue is the lack of ability for people to understand the other side of the argument.
Right.
Like, I generally like...
we try to listen to, and then there's the other people that say, we listen to them. I go, no, you don't. You're exactly doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
You idiot.
I will approach a conversation with an open mind about something. And there's like I don't know, I'm trying to like skirt the line of being political without being political.
Yeah.
But there's a friend that I hang out with, and we do like a fire every once in a great while, and we'll generally talk about politics, and we will discuss either side and like kind of like openly, not so much like picking a side one way or the other and arguing that side, but we'll like be like, we'll talk about one side and be like, I can see it from this point of view. And then we'll talk about the other side and be like, I can understand this point of view because like this and this.
Right.
And like people seem to lack that ability nowadays in all regards, not just politics, but like literally everything.
Yeah. It's like, even if I would come to conversations with a closed mind and be like, no, I'm just sticking with this. But I'm not going to, unless I'm like trying to belittle the person, which does happen every now and then. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen me actually get into an argument with somebody.
I don't know. Probably not.
It's happened. It doesn't happen a lot of times, because now at this point where I'm just like, whatever, dude, you can be wrong all you want. I'm done arguing with you. It's not worth my time.
There's certain conversations though where like that's warranted. Like if someone were to try to tell me that like AMD graphics cards are better than NVIDIA graphics cards for gaming,
yeah,
I would be like shaking. I'd be like, what do you mean? Like,
there were times all the time if somebody would come in. Fuck it. I'll get off that example and start going to that one. That would come into Target and would have a conversation about like, oh, this is better than this, and I'm like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. The best is around holiday when somebody was always like, PlayStation or Xbox, and I'm like, Okay, do you want the actual like educated conversation?
Yeah.
Or you just want to be like, well, PlayStations are a bunch of losers. And it's like, you don't understand. You're losing right now, buddy.
Yeah.
You are literally losing.
I had a guy come in the other day, and
Android or iPhone? Same thing.
he came in at 9:55
Oh, God.
and
5 minutes before closing.
started asking for flash brackets for
What?
photography.
Do you even have them?
No,
I don't think so.
no one carries those around.
Yeah,
here.
wouldn't you have to go to like a specialist?
Yes. So he asked me for them. I said we don't have them. And he proceeded to say, "Oh, I'm surprised you know what they are." And then that turned into like, I'm like, yeah, I you know, my fiance's photographer. I know about, I know.
Yeah, I know
photography.
cameras.
Yeah. Long story short, he started to like, we went in on cameras. And like, I basically, it was like, he would say something and I would respond in a way that was basically like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, so was it a friendly conversation?
It was a friendly conversation, but it was,
But, like,
he was one of those people that was like,
He doesn't believe you know what you're talking about?
exactly.
Right.
And so he's going off and he starts like just basically saying how great Sony is and how he was adamant that he despised Nikon, like hated Nikon
What?
for various reasons.
Sure.
And he was going off about Canon and Sony and all this, and we talked about Fujifilm and blah, blah, blah. So after this very in-depth conversation about how he did a lot of talking, and I just answered every once in a while, and like he asked me what I shoot, like what my cameras are, and I was like, yeah, I have like 3 Nikons. It was like that really awkward, like,
Yep.
yep. So ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a special place in hell for people that go to retail and just try to mess with people. And not even try to mess with them, just like make it worse than it should. The immediate thought is Van Dusen.
He still calls every week.
Van Dusen.
I make sure if there's
Wait, he calls every week still?
yeah, still, dude.
That's dedication.
Asking the same questions. How long's the movie?
Is it good?
Yep. Is it good? How long's the movie? It's 240 minutes. How long is that?
There's nothing better than this Van Dusen character calls on a Monday night
Yeah.
for Tuesday's releases. Now we had how do I be kind about? We had people in our store that were pushovers. I say had. They're still there. But he would request things to be put on hold for him of new releases that were out the next day. Technically, they're not on the floor. And when the first time I interacted with him, I told him no. And I shut him down. He's like, they do it for me all the time. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know who does that for you, but it's not going to be me. You can come in, you can call tomorrow morning when they're on the floor, and they'll put them aside. One night, when we were on to our third store manager since I had been there, he caught me in the back room pacing because I was on the phone with this guy for 35 minutes discussing what new movies were out, how long they were, what the ratings were, and mind you, we at one point discussed the kid movies. If they were good or if they were bad, which, sir, I don't know. Even though, why do you need to know the movie? Like, I never understood it.
The best part about it, though,
Is that he doesn't pick him up?
yeah, there's that, but there's also like he asks you the same series of questions, still buys them.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what the answer is. He's still going to buy them.
Still buys them. Yeah. I don't know.
He's insane.
I'm pretty sure like I've successfully had it so that almost like everyone in the building has spoken to him at some point.
Oh, that's good.
And like everyone knows who he is. Like everyone knows the name and knows like as soon as like they hear his voice, they know who he is.
Yep.
But I can get him off the phone now in like 5 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was on there with 35, not answering questions.
Yeah.
Just walking around while he talks in the background.
That's the thing is I think it's literally this is we're getting in the weeds here, but like I swear to God, I think that conditioning of like when we'd both respond to him in the same way, it was that like really passive aggressive like
stop calling
and like refusing to answer the stupid questions like how is it good?
Yeah.
It has like conditioned him into like I'll give him those answers now and he just accepts them. So like he'll be like I'm looking for this. I'm like cool. And he's like all right, how long is it? And I'm like it's this long. He's like how long is that? I'm like I don't know, hour and a half, something like that. He's like all right, cool. Is it any good? I'm like haven't seen it. He's like all right, can you put it on hold for me? And that's like literally the conversation now.
I feel like we should mess with him at some point. How is it? They murder a bunch of children. It's really weird.
I should do
And
that.
just
Like, dude, it's terrible. Don't buy it.
He's asking like about My Little Pony or something. And be like, I don't know. Batman shows up at some point. Heath Ledger's dead body. Like I don't know. It's just weird. Van Dusen.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a myth. That's a legend.
Some people, interesting people in this world. I don't know if interesting is a good descriptor, but some.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess interesting is there's no other really way to describe somebody that you only know based on a phone call. Which is bad that we also we know you on a phone call.
Retail is an interesting beast for sure.
Yeah.
Just because of the way you interact with people. It's I think to a certain extent, like you cut right to the core, like of who someone is, like
especially around holiday time.
Oh yeah, because like
holiday time when everybody's at their end,
yeah,
and it's just like I will snap this toy in front of your child because I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
I'll ruin your Christmas.
I honestly think it's backwards now to where you get nicer people during the holidays than you do all. Because just the general condition of humanity has like deteriorated so much.
I think people have slowly kind of started to finally figure out that holy shit, you're not so important.
I don't even know if it's that.
It's like I'm not gonna, for the most part, and I mean that store is not in the worst section of town, if you know what I mean. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. So you get people that you're not happy to see, but for the most part, you can have a conversation with them as a human and be like, I'm not dealing with your shit. Not exactly say it that way, but they'll kind of get it. Like, I don't know if I told you the one day that I had a woman hug me as she was leaving. You know about that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's been a couple times where people have been hugged, so I don't know if I've heard
this one wasn't like a bad one. It wasn't a weird one where I know some of the other ones that have had that happen have been weird. This one was back when we had the headphones and stuff in the first aisle.
Mm-hmm.
We were in there discussing that she wanted a pair of wireless headphones. So, to nobody that knows anything, obviously you want headphones that don't have a wire. If you're me and you know that there's a difference between wireless and Bluetooth. So here we go. That's where the conversation starts. Now, she has other stuff in her cart. She doesn't look like she's... If I had to stereotype her, I'm not just stereotyping her as, like, hard off. Like, she's doing all right. So she's probably smart enough to understand what I'm saying. But she's either at her end or what. At some point she says, I don't think you understand what I'm looking for. Mind you, we're standing in front of the headphones. I don't think you understand what I'm looking for. And I believe the words out of my mouth were, I don't think you understand what I'm telling you. Like, didn't even hesitate. Right to it. And she just looked at me, like, the stare of, like, are you telling me the customer's not always right? And I'm just staring at her like, bitch, I'm not backing down. And so we both just kind of take a moment to stare at each other and then go
like sizing each other up.
Yeah, like, all right, this is how this is going to be. And I think I broke. It was like, okay, so here's what I mean. and did the, explain like I'm 5, difference between Bluetooth and wireless. We get to the point, we get that all done, we figure out which ones she wants. She gets those ones, and as she's walking away from electronics, she looks like she's about to start crying and is hugging me saying, "Thank you." The weirdest 180-degree turnaround I've ever seen in that store.
Some people just need to be
It was like,
put in their place.
I don't know what day you were having, honey, but whoo, boy, were you not feeling good. Or you get those other people that, like, I had one guy come in one night on a Monday night. He's like, "Hey, I got to drop a lot of money. Can you, like, follow me around with a flat?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, like, whatever." I think he cashed out a 50-plus inch TV. Then we went up front and grabbed microwaves. They had to, like, redo their house. So we were just grabbing furniture, 50-inch TV, microwaves, anything that was expensive. I think I loaded up like a $3,000 purchase into their car. I was like, all right, yeah, sure, that works. I didn't do anything for 45 to an hour. Still doesn't beat the time I had to load a Christmas tree into somebody's Volkswagen Bug at Walmart.
Oh my God, dude. The other day, this couple comes up and they wanted to get a futon, okay? So, like, dude's like, "Hey, can you help me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do you need?" He's like, "He's over in furniture. I want to get a futon." And I'm like, obviously, I'm not in furniture. And I was like,
Right.
Okay. And I go over there with the futon.
There's
and I load the
nothing
futon up.
better than the immediate thought that somebody's like, "Hey, I want to get this." We know how big the boxes are, and we're like, "You better have brought a..." Like, I wouldn't even... Most of the time now, if somebody was like, "Hey, can I get some of the furniture?" I would start asking, like, towards the end. I was like, "What do you want?
Yeah.
This? What did you bring? I'm not coming over there."
Well, I didn't ask because I just didn't.
It's politer not to.
Yeah, and I just assumed they seemed like they were competent people, so I just was like, they know what they're doing.
I think I had somebody show up in a fucking Kia Rio to try to buy one of those things. I was like, "You can leave. Like, I'll just put this back."
So I grabbed the
futon,
and I grabbed a coworker as he was walking by, and we checked them out. And they go to pick up their car, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something because he says this to me anytime I do a carry out with him. Generally, he's always like, if they pull up and like insert small car, "I'm gonna kill you," something like that.
Right?
And I don't know who.
Oh.
I know who it was, but
Yeah.
So they pull up in a 2-door You remember the Monte Carlos? They don't make them anymore, but like.
Yeah, and I know which one you're... Yeah.
Yeah, they pull up in a Monte Carlo.
Are you kidding me?
And, like, yeah, they're big cars, but they're not big in that way.
No, I mean, like, you might be able to, out of the box, wedge it through the trunk. That's it, though.
Which is exactly what we had to do after a lot of struggling, because the person was adamant that we could get it into the back seat.
Do they not...
Get it in the back seat through a 2-door car.
Are you kidding me?
So we tried. Didn't work, obviously. And
that's also my favorite when they're like, "No, it'll fit." I'm like, "Listen, I'll gladly spend 15 minutes standing out here so I don't have to do other work, but you're an idiot."
So long story short, we ended up having to take it out of the box and squeeze it into the trunk, which it didn't go that far into the trunk either, but they just dealt with it.
There's nothing that ever makes sense to me than people showing up to buy furniture with cars that don't make sense.
My favorite one that I've done is a 55-inch TV into a Mustang convertible.
Oh, wow.
Dude pulled up.
Like out of the back? Like in the back seat leaning out?
Dude, chillest dude ever. Pulled up, put the top down, was like, "Let's throw it in the back seat." Threw it in the back seat like it was a giant fucking spoiler. Hopped in, took off. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he just like...
We had somebody... pretty much the same thing, except that I think we slid it in the back of an SUV and they couldn't shut the door. They're like, "Whatever, driving with it open," and they left. And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, thank God I'm on camera right now because that is unreal to me.
It's fantastic. All right, enough retail.
Yeah,
enough retail for one night.
Yeah,
we'll be here for 3 hours talking about horror stories.
Yeah, or horrors. Oh, we could discuss horrors, but I feel like that would get really bad really quick.
We probably sound like a bunch of dicks anyways.
I mean, I don't totally know a group called Men Are Bastards.
Is that a subreddit?
No, it's something else I'll tell you about later.
Okay, all right. All right.
It's... What are we at time-wise? I'm just curious. Give me a check here. Check.
35 minutes?
That's not too bad.
No.
Yeah, it's been the cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
That's where we really started derailing because we hit Michael Jai White and lost it into Nazis and the fact that people fucking stood in lines and shot at each other.
Yeah, dude, that that fucking documentary, like, I don't understand.
That's why, in terms of not being a documentary, The Patriot, I'm so happy never shows me that for the most part. You see it a little bit, but I'm like, holy Christ, if you, I would want to I'd freak out. Like, how is this okay?
What's funny to me about, whatever, it's a tangent. What's funny to me.
We can tangent on anything on this one. That's why I did it.
Is I feel like the American Revolution. Now, granted, I like history, but I'm not a know-it-all. So, and I say that in a good sense of the way. Like, I don't know everything about either.
Right. I mean, I enjoy history as well, and I know enough to have a conversation. But
it seems to me that the tactics that the 13 colonies used in the American Revolution were better and more realistic, I guess, than the tactics
than the Civil War
used in the Civil War.
The way the colonies seem to have fought in the Revolutionary War is more akin almost to guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, it was guerrilla warfare.
When then you reach the other one and they're like, what's that? Line up against Jim?
Yeah. We have to act civilized now. We're a country.
It's the Civil War, so we act civilized. As if they named it at the same time.
Which is, I don't know, it's so bizarre because, like, at this point...
I mean, we could have it. We might as well just finish this thing with a history discussion because now I have another stupid question.
Yeah. It's bizarre to me because, like, granted, the American Revolution was probably also very brutal, but the Civil War, like, they'd line up, take some volleys at each other, and then it was just straight up like, let's fist fight until we die.
Yeah, which was weird also. It's only 100 years later.
Yeah.
And we've completely forgotten the idea of, like, jumping out of trees and killing people?
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Nope, it's straight up, let's line up and then run at each other and start beating each other to death.
Not counting the fact that at that point you're almost still fighting the American Revolution. You're still almost fighting a three-sided war because you still have Native Americans.
Yep. Although,
they're still around at that point.
They're around, but I think at that point they were like, yeah, we don't want any part of this.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean,
and they were
if you step on my land, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
The question I was going to ask was how many people in World War I that fought do you think were like, we better not have to fucking do this again?
Oh, my God. Everyone?
Yeah. And then 20 years later, we're like, oh, son of a bitch.
Everyone. I watched a cool video on YouTube the other day. All right. If you're a history buff and also into historical firearms, that type of thing, Forgotten Weapons. Amazing.
That sounds like a history show. Like
an amazing YouTube channel.
It sounds like what should be on history.
Yeah. Dude, it is there. This guy who runs aliens is like, he's finishing up a book on, right now on, the history of French weapons, basically French firearms. Anyways, he did a video of trenches, the trench system from World War I around Helsinki in Finland.
Yep.
That the Soviets
fish slaps.
Well,
that's another sidetrack.
The Soviets didn't really build it; they used like forced labor apparently to build it.
Oh yeah,
it was
comrade.
Chinese, actually. Chinese. Well, that's the rumors. It was Chinese forced labor.
Impressive.
Yeah. It was really interesting, though, because when you force them to do stuff, can do some pretty impressive things. They really do, though. Like,
The entire railroad.
They literally almost built the entire railroad by themselves, and then
I mean,
just
with
San
a little bit,
Francisco
let's be
in
fair,
general.
a little bit of encouragement, but
Yeah, a little bit of encouragement.
little bit, lot of bit. I mean, just watch Shanghai Nights or Noon. Shanghai Noon. Sorry, Nights is the wrong country.
Yeah, so they built this extravagant trench system around Helsinki. The only trenches in World War I that used concrete.
Oh, fancy!
Never had to use them.
Even better. That's true.
Classic.
Who's going to go into Finland?
Classic. Well, it was one of
Classic.
it's freaking Russia, Soviet Union. So
Yeah.
they have one or two warm weather ports, or
Yeah, that's true.
all year round ports.
Yeah, airports. Yeah,
So
not like one had many port fights, but
no, they just lined up in the middle of the ocean and shot at each other.
The complete side topic I saw I saw a headline on this screen over here that said, I'm completely not even I turned down a different road. We're not going straight anymore.
That's fine.
A headline over here said Rick and Morty's soundtrack is the best looking something.
Yeah, I saw it pass by a couple times. I can't remember what it said though.
Soundtrack is best looking.
What?
I don't want to go any further than that because I don't want to spur up the Rick and Morty fans because
You should just watch the fucking show.
it's somewhat embarrassing what that community is.
Yeah, but the show's you would
The
love
show
that
is
show.
probably good, but the community is boy.
The show is so far up your alley.
Oh.
I don't understand how you. You're gonna love Rick. You're like, I want to be Rick.
The other one is I was reading through some stuff. I think both probably on Yahoo, ESPN, and a few other like notable sites. Notable just being like in terms of popularity and stuff like that. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out, do these people not proofread what they're posting?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like
clicking spell check, people, as we've all learned, and you as journalists should know, doesn't fix everything.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't proofread the shit that I write for a document, but it's not really a
We're
big
not
deal.
posting it.
Yeah, if it was something that mattered, the one thing that you learn it in school, and it's so basic, but you find all of your errors doing it. Just read the fucking thing out loud afterwards to yourself. If you read it out loud,
read what you wrote, not what you think you wrote.
Yeah. Well, generally, if you I find
if you read it out loud,
personally,
you actually
if I read it out
yeah.
loud, then I'll read the mistakes out loud, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta fix that.
There were times I'm scrolling through this stuff, and you can tell what the person meant to be doing, but they wrote we instead of we he or something like that. I'm like, that's not what you meant. Like, how did this get through?
It blows my mind because they write it, and then you assume there's a revision.
I would assume there's an editor, but if they're just like, do it, then why are you editing it? Why is there an editor? Are you only controlling what articles go up, not the content of them?
Do you find it everywhere or just in video game journalism? Because
everywhere. I think I was finding it on ESPN and certain Yahoo articles, which I think are linked out from other places and stuff like that.
I think I see it everywhere as well, but I noticed it a lot more because I look at video game journal. I'll read an article every once in a while, but generally, I look at a lot of video game journalism just because of the podcast.
Right.
And I feel like there is a blatant decline in journalism in general.
Yeah, when I'm flipping around, it's usually if I'm in the morning and I'm just it's slow and I'm catching up on random stories and stuff like that. I'm looking at stuff. I'm like, this just doesn't. I get your point, but you're missing small things that make your sentences not correct. And it's just really weird.
Yeah.
That headline is interesting. Not the whole headline, but Dota itself. So, Dota Defense of the Ancients was a Warcraft 3 mod that Valve took and ran with and now makes shit tons of money with. Did you see there was a headline or something, or an article maybe, discussing MOBA, or discussing esports? I can't remember who wrote it. maybe it was ESPN. There was an esports article of like discussing what is esports, kind of like, who's watching esports, and just like stuff like that, like a real intro-y article. Like, oh, your fan base isn't going to be the people that watch sports. Like, you might be able to convert some of them, but you're not going to have anywhere. You're not even going to have a 50% conversion rate.
It's a bold statement.
Yeah, you wouldn't even. I don't even think it'd be close to 50% in terms of like not conversion, but like Venn diagrammed shared pool. They never mentioned Dota. They mentioned the Overwatch League. They mentioned League of Legends. They mentioned Counter-Strike. They never mentioned Dota, which was so strange for me for a couple of reasons. When the article came out, the International was still happening. The International is in the top 3 biggest esports competitions, period. The International has the biggest payout, period. I think their payout this time was $22 million. That's insane.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, there's not a big fan base in the U.S. I'm assuming compared to like what they were mentioning.
I think there's still a big fan base, but a lot of their article when they were discussing it was defending it with money. Like, yes, these players can potentially earn 7 figures throughout a year. And I'm like, as you're saying that, you're not even talking about the biggest prize money pool.
Well,
it seemed like it was written by somebody who sees what's happening on Twitch and just didn't happen to look for the last week.
I bet it was that and a combination of them playing to their audience because, like, American exceptionalism, like if
right,
it doesn't,
but the best players aren't American in any of those.
Yeah, but they're
all South Korean.
But
except for Dota. Dota's your exception.
There's some good Americans in Dota?
There's some good American teams. I believe they're American or... I think I don't remember who ended up winning this one, but I think it was maybe between like a European team. But it's like...
Yeah, but like Overwatch has teams that they might have foreign players on them, but the teams are American teams.
Yeah. Same with League.
Yeah.
Same with Dota.
So I think that's the thing is its presence. They're writing to the presence
Same
of
with
the
Counter-Strike.
country.
Yeah. I just feel like it's not...
It's poor.
It's poor to not... Like, I think you mentioned 3 correct ones, and I think you also need to mention Dota.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, Dota's the elephant in the room.
To mention the 3 of them and then not say that one is a really weird, like, I'm going to take Tommy and I'm going to take Susie and I'm going to take Betty and then just never mention Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Well, like
Jimmy's kind of, like, conquered all 3 of the things they have and is arguably more successful and profitable.
I'm trying to think of, like, a good, like, metaphor or something like that, but I can't come up with anything because like Dota's the game that kind of created like not necessarily created esports, but like made esports what it is today with the big money,
or at least did it for MOBAs.
Yeah. Well, it kind of took esports, I feel like, to the next level.
That and StarCraft and early Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And then Dota's MOBA popularity brought in stuff like League and stuff like that could actually thrive in it. But it's like just to mention not that I was like, you're just not paying attention? Are you awake in the back of the classroom? What's going on?
It's the same thing like we were talking about last week with Cyberpunk. Like what?
Same thing. Yeah.
It was really satisfying to watch the demo because I was like, afterwards, I was like, what the fuck? Like, where are these people pulling this shit out of? Like,
yeah. Well, so when we talked last week about Cyberpunk and discussing the social side of it, I guess we can call it, when we talked in the car on the way home from the state fair, I was just laughing in my head. I probably laughed out loud too, but I was laughing in my head when you're like, it's exactly as you fucking said it was going to go.
Oh yeah. That was when they announced or whenever I saw the news or whatever like that they were doing the stream, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
It's funny that you say that we said that, right? Like I had that prediction. It pretty much was what happened. We were discussing football in the office, and like I could get into an entire sports thing about current states of everything, but I'm not going to, because it's going to be a one-sided discussion unless we talk about Formula One, which I saw it crash today. It looked pretty bad.
yeah, Sauber, man.
Yeah, he flipped that thing. Whew, it looked bad.
There was one last. Well, we'll talk about it afterwards.
And there was a sports thing where the Jets had a backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, on their staff, who is coming back from an injury, but is arguably a starter on the right team, yada, yada. And I'm a Saints fan, and I didn't like our options at backup. And we were discussing, like, so if you make Sam Darnold the starter for the Jets, which is what the idea looks like, then what do you do with Teddy? Do you try to trade him? What do you get? Yada, yada. You know, who trades for him, stuff like that. And we're just discussing football stuff in the room. And I was like, I'd like to see him go to the Saints as a backup because I trust him arguably more than the other ones that we had, yada, yada. And I was like, I don't know. I give up a 4th-round pick, maybe, I guess. Well, the next day or 2 days later, Teddy is now a Saint. It was Teddy plus a 6th-round pick for a 3rd-round pick. So I was off by a round. I was just like, I need to stop. This is weird. And I mean, it's not like it's an unpredicted move. Like, I'm sure anybody could have predicted these things. It's the same thing. It's the same dumb thing I always joke about with certain FIFA saves I've had, where I make a bunch of these transfers. I'm like, man, these players would be really good, yada yada. And then I have a team that is exactly a team in real life, like 3 years later, minus a couple people. You're like, I had that team a couple years ago when I was 3 years ahead in my sim. That's weird. It's just weird stuff like that happens.
Maybe you should start betting.
Yeah, 3 years out for what a team looks like.
Well, no, you just got to channel that
The
intuitiveness,
the ability to just know what's about to happen.
that clairvoyance.
What prediction do you want me to make? Give me I'll make a prediction for you.
Oh, I don't know.
Make it something I should know at least something about.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. See, that's the thing. It's like all that shit you know about. I don't like all. Sports
I mean, you can go video games. You can go. You can go sports if you wanted to. I mean, you could go. I wouldn't say don't give me like this. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? I don't agree with that one. Don't give me that one.
I don't know anything about sports, so I can't like in video games. Like, there's nothing I could point to.
See, the joke would be like I would predict a Formula One winner. But I'm 50-50 on if I even want to do that.
Yeah, I don't think you could do a good prediction of that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you could.
So top 4.
Because that's like I feel like that's putting you in like an unfair position.
I'd go in a pickle for it. I'll ask this: top 6 racers.
Okay,
I believe are Ferrari and the other 2 Mercedes, and the other. I think it's 3 teams in the top 6, right? That's what it was.
I mean, Red Bulls would be the 3rd, but they're not really. It's Mercedes. A Mercedes driver or a Ferrari driver are going to win the world championship.
Okay. And my job would be to pick one of those 4, I guess.
So current standings, Hamilton's in the lead.
Mercedes driver.
Mercedes. Vettel
I'm picking up a little bit as we talk about it each week.
Vettel is in 2nd.
Not Mercedes driver.
Ferrari. And then I don't know who's after that. I think it's Ferrari in 4th. Yeah, that's what I think too. So it'd be Bottas. Well, actually, it might be a Red Bull driver. Let me look up the standings.
It's a points thing, right?
Yeah, it's all points. So what we were talking about before, the crashing. So Sauber had a crash with I can't ever pronounce his last name. He's some fucking French last name. Leclerc. But it's spelled like Leclerc.
Oh.
It's got a C at the end, but it's silent, so it's Leclerc or whatever.
Frenchies.
He flipped his car. Because
so this is with somebody else?
No. He was going down a straightaway, and you remember the DRS thing where there's the flap
Sauber
on the
had
rear wing?
Sauber's the team, that's right.
Yeah, Sauber's the team, sorry.
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo Sauber.
Yeah, they have the DRS thing where it's supposed to... isn't it manually triggered?
It is. So there's a zone, and then you can trigger it inside the zone.
And his didn't trigger.
His did trigger and stayed open.
Oh, I thought his didn't trigger.
No, well, that one... If they don't trigger, it means the flap's closed, so the rear wing has full downforce, so it's not an issue. It's when it stays open and they don't have that downforce is when it becomes an issue.
Oh, okay.
So it stayed open.
So wait, was he open before he got into the corner? When he should have been putting it down?
He can't. I think, yeah. So I
he
think
wasn't
what
putting
happened.
It wasn't him putting it up. It was him not being able to put it down.
It was up and. It was up and he couldn't put it down because it was stuck.
Yeah, so he couldn't get it down.
Yeah. It was stuck open and then he just snap oversteered. Like he literally the car's going straight.
Yeah, he went 90 degrees straight into the wall. Both front tires gone.
Yep.
Spin, and then started flipping.
Mm-hmm. And then his teammate, actually it wasn't Leclerc that crashed. It was Ericsson. And then Leclerc went out afterwards. And his got stuck open as well. But they anticipated it happening because it happened to Ericsson. So they assumed that there might be a problem with both cars, which is kind of common because the cars are identical.
Yeah. So
and half the time...
If there's a problem with one, there should be a problem with the other one.
That's the funny thing about Formula One now, too, is that most of the time it's a fucking software issue.
All this tech in these cars.
Yeah.
Speaking of technical cars, I got a Tesla story.
Last weekend was the first test, we shall say, real world test, we shall say, of the new Halo system.
Oh, okay, yep. It's a really good test to flip your car with it.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened was, there's roll bars in place anyways. So
right, yeah.
What happened was one of the drivers, for whatever reason, didn't brake going into the corner, and he ran into the back of another car, which then proceeded to launch that car over another car, and the rear wheel basically came down where the Halo system is. So it could have potentially hit the driver's head and killed him if the Halo system wasn't there. But the Halo system took the hit, and you can, if you look at the Halo, people were posting pictures of the Halo afterwards, where it had the huge rubber streak on it, and it had actually shattered the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
But I think it has some crazy alloy core to where it's basically a fucking immovable object. It's just
it's gonna be almost impossible to break this thing.
Yeah. Anyways, we got way off track. Standings so far in the championship.
Yep. Give me position and points. Top four.
Hamilton is leading. He's Mercedes. He has 231 points.
Okay. How many points do you get for winning a race?
25.
Okay.
Vettel is second. He has 214.
Okay.
And the points difference, I don't know if that's not a lot, because if Vettel were to win a race and Hamilton were to not finish, they would be
close.
Yeah. He'd be in the points lead.
Right.
So, which is...
But what does it take to get 0 points? Because it's a fall off, isn't it? It's 25, 20, something, yada, yada, yada.
I think you have to be lower than 10th.
Okay.
So, but once you get out of the top 3, the points drastically drop. So, you're... anyway, so you have Vettel with 214 points in second, Ferrari. Raikkonen, who's also Ferrari, third.
Who has the story of having a problem with his car.
He's in third, and he has 146.
Ooh. All right.
And fourth is Bottas, who's Mercedes. He has 144.
Huh.
From there, I guess it's probably doesn't really fucking matter.
So assuming that they let the top two gun it out, and the other two just kind of, quote unquote block. I'm going to say Vettel.
That's a safe bet.
Well, I mean, so is Hamilton.
Yeah. Well, I'd be interested to see what the gambling odds are, like what the odds are given, because technically Hamilton would be the safer bet, I think, because he's won he's won like I think the last 2 or 3 championships. But I think that Vettel's is the best, the most likely to win at this point because the Ferraris are consistently faster than the Mercedes, which is the first time that's really happened.
Yep, no idea.
The better.
I was really tempted to take a third or fourth. I'll tell you that right now. I was really tempted. If I took a fourth, it's not Raikkonen though.
That would be That's who I'd pick.
Yeah, it's a good story. Let's put it this way: it's a really good story if Raikkonen came back. Mm-hmm. But I would want to give it to Bottas.
The problem is that Raikkonen's the better driver, I think, out of the two. And he's won a world championship before.
Yeah, I know. So it's also a good story to have those two somehow swap with the other two and compete in the finals.
Yeah, the more interesting...
And then for some reason they tie in points, so they have to have a 1v1 race on a track in 3 laps.
The Vettel-Hamilton...
That'd be so fucking funny.
Yeah, it is. The Vettel-Hamilton story, like race
Talladega Nights thing.
Championship's interesting, but the Constructors' Championship, I think, is kind of interesting, too.
The bottom half.
No, the Team's Championship. Because they do, like, the Driver Championship and then the Team Championship. So Mercedes is winning currently, and they have 375 points.
Okay.
Ferrari's in second with 360 points.
Okay.
And then everyone else is, like, over 100 points behind. So, like, they're, like, really close to each other.
I bet Ferrari wins that one. I also picked a Ferrari winner, so true. I'm doubling down on my Ferraris.
I don't know, man. They like to crash out a lot.
I bet they do. But now that they have Nate Killian's backing, watch what's about to happen.
All right. There's a race this weekend. We'll find out.
You bet your ass you're going to find out when you see that red crossing the finish line.
Getting really into this.
Not much more than I happened to see it on Reddit earlier. Also, speaking of tech cars, I'm going to end this here after this. Did you see the video of a Tesla going airborne?
I did not watch the video, but I saw the headlines or whatever. That
it's really funny.
Something with the driver is like
driver's trouble. A moron.
The driver's in trouble or something for doing it.
Yeah, because the cops are blaming him, not Tesla. The guy was in the Roadster, I believe, and took it over train tracks that were at like the top of a little hill.
Yeah,
and took it going who knows how fast and launched the thing. And then
he was trying to blame Tesla?
Somewhere crashed and like hit a tree. I don't think he was trying to blame Tesla necessarily, but that's the immediate thing when everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it was the car's fault," or the automation in the car caused him to. And somebody else, like one of the, I can't remember if it was a news station.
So pissed when people.
Yeah, I know, me too. If it was a news station or anything, like interviewed one of the people that also lives around there, and the person was like, "You need to go less. If you're going 30 over that thing, you can catch air." That guy's a jackass. And I was just like, yeah, there's your quote. Put that guy in court. That'd be awesome. Your Honor, he's a moron. No one around here goes over that thing faster than 20. And
he's just fast going over.
He just, whoo! He just goes flying through the air, nose dips. He lands, skids, and you can't see when he crashes, but he does end up, according to the report, putting it headfirst into a tree.
Devastating.
Oh, yeah. Guaranteed total the car.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all. That's a general chat. That's a talking with us. That's an opinionated. That's a whatever we want to title this.
First ramble.
First ramble. I think maybe we'll do this like at the end of the month.
Like once a month?
Yeah. End of the month, once a month, and just kind of bullshit.
Interesting.
Just to see. We'll see how it gets received. If you liked it, let me know. Same place as all the other stuff. If you didn't like it, also let me know, and we won't do it again.
Well, we probably will, but
Because we don't listen to you. That's a joke. We do what we want. You can't hold us down. This is America. I have freedoms and rights.
not for much longer.
That's true. Not the way we're going. 2020, here we come.